need or anything that they're looking for. Thank you, Sheena. I actually got a couple of things, but if anybody, I'll let someone jump in first. If you guys have anything, just drop it in the chat or unmute and let's get some deals done.
So anybody who's new, this section is just if you got any needs, like you need money or you need a deal or you got a deal that you want to share, you want to assign something, or you're looking for a contractor, a good Starbucks recipe or anything like that. This is the section and time to do it.
Well, if anybody in Hawaii is looking for like an attorney to kind of just review docs or draft documents or contracts, then I have a friend who's looking, and she's very good. She's actually Jonah Kogan's wife. So, and Jonah's awesome guy, and he's been on here before. So if anybody needs any kind of contracts or deeds looked through.
You want to send me that contact, Corey? Actually, somebody was just asking me for somebody like that to help them draft some LLC or partnership docs. So maybe I'll pass the contact along.
Yep. Thanks, Daniel.
Kala's looking for an attorney as well. It's perfect. We got Corey and I collect a lot of attorneys. Not that we want to, but we seem to like to.
Yeah.
We like to meet them. Anybody else got any deals you're working on? Anybody need help with any deals?
Anybody got a eviction attorney, like somebody that they'd recommend here on Oahu?
Eviction attorney. I thought I knew someone. It can't come. If it comes to mind, Daniel, I'll send them your way. Actually,
Thank you.
Peter Starn's office can do it. It's just they're expensive. He's one of our attorneys.
What's his name?
Peter Starn, Starn. He's gangster, man, and he's big. But he's a big gun, so he costs a lot, but they get stuff done.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody done a subject to deal? Peter's asking a question. He's got a need on subject to. What are some of the key things to look for? Daniel, haven't you done a sub to?
Yeah, I've done a sub too. What do you need, Peter? I mean, what do you need, Peter? Wait, Peter Starn is also your attorney too, right?
No, this is different Peter. Peter Starn's my attorney.
Okay. No, but I mean, it's Peter. It's both Peter, right? So I was getting confused.
Yeah, that was Peter's question. I think Peter's somewhere. Hey, Peter, what are you looking for specifically for your sub to? Peter might be somewhere where he can't talk.
Yeah.
He's not visual either. That's all good.
I can talk. How you doing, guys?
Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter, how's it going?
Not bad. Hey, I'm over in Washington in Puyallup. So finally got our adult family home up and running. So now to kind of expand and broaden our leverage financially, we're trying to find out. I just found out about subject to deals. Just trying to see if what are the major concerns or anything that if anyone has had any kind of experience with it. I know someone mentioned that they have had experience with it. I mean, are there some? Is it something that would have underlying issues in the future? Can I go ahead and do it and then refinance in a few months? I mean, I'm just not very. I never did it before. It's the first time I heard about it.
I don't want to you can start you can take hours in this. So me, Kamahai, Taylor, part of a sub 2 community. There's a Facebook group with Creative Financing with Pace Morby. You can probably join. That will give you a lot of information. The basics of it is, sub 2, and then you can refinance it out as soon as you can with another lender. So.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I mean, that's straightforward. That was my main concern is, can I remove the full responsibilities so that other person's not on the hook? for.
From my experience, not all lenders will do it, but then I've done it with a conventional loan. So you just gotta find the right lender who's willing to do it for you. So
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much.
That's
And,
awesome.
Peter, check the chat. Matt dropped something in there for you as well. Thank you, Matt. And one thing with owner financing, whether it's agreement of sale or sub two, is if you're gonna, depending on your exit strategy, if you're gonna flip it, you might want to run your numbers, because I was just mentioning this on Zasha's live we did last week, where sometimes if your renovation budget is like pretty heavy, it may not make sense to, or it may not be worth going for sub two or owner financing. It may be better to just buy cash with hard money, because hard money will finance the entire renovation amount, right? So actually Ashley and I were looking at a deal in Kailua off market, and the renovation budget might be like 250 to 300,000 though. So if we took it down with hard money and the terms, leveraging for the purchase and the renovation, we'd probably have to bring in like 175 to do the entire deal. Whereas if we bought it with seller financing, we'd have to probably bring in like maybe 450,000. So more than double the amount, right? Of course, our holding costs would be cheaper, most likely, depending on what the terms are of the existing mortgage. But if you kind of weigh the two options together, it's like I'd rather have the leverage, so than the lower rates. So, anyways, just want to throw that out there.
Hey,
Yeah, Peter.
Congratulations on the adult family home as well, man. That is a massive undertaking. We got ours just completed last week, so we should be opening up here soon. So I'd love to pick your brain.
Yeah, Peter, another thing, I know Daniel said we could probably talk about it for hours. There are some very specific things, more like in the weeds things to look out for. I'll throw my email in there, reach out. We can like jump on a call and go into depth about it if you want to. I'm sure Daniel would be open to that too, Tadeva as well.
Right on, guys. Thank you.
Love it.
There you go, Peter. Anybody else have anything?
Thank you, guys. I was typing away. I was multitasking, trying to keep up with the chat, and also and listening at the same time. I'm not ignoring anybody. I appreciate y'all, and I'm also sending that email right now.
Awesome.
Sweet.
All right. Well, if you guys think of anything, just drop it in the chat or feel free to unmute for any questions. But Kiko, you want to take it away?
Yeah. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us again on this Friday. I hope everybody's doing good. Thanks for this amazing community every week, just kind of helping everybody out. And just an example, even today, just jumping in and saying, hey, call us and we'll help figure this out together. So we're going to jump right into our guests this week. We have two special people that I hung out with for a week in Maui, masterminding on a bunch of things. They're out of Boise, Idaho, which I know most people don't know where Boise is because it's a place not too often do people want to go to. It's not a destination like Hawaii or, Austin, Texas, but Boise is just an amazing location. Real estate market has been on fire, and two guys that have become just gangster in the market with real estate investing are people that I met, Jeff and Noah, and they're just super cool, humble, hardworking folks. So wanted to welcome Jeff and Noah to our coffee talk this week. What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
What's up,
Thanks
man?
for having us.
We appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So tell us a little bit about your story. So we're going to talk for everybody who's on today, just kind of drop some questions if you have anything as they go through their story. They have a lot that we can learn from. They're partners, not partners by marriage, but business partners. Although, they're pretty cute. But they're also really great at real estate investing. They do a lot of creative designs on their rehabs, but also they've creatively actually built a portfolio together. So it's pretty cool. So we'll chat about all that, but kind of tell us a little bit about your individual story to start, and then how you guys met and the love story that brought you guys into actually owning a company together.
Yeah, for sure. You want to start yours first, bro?
Yeah, so I started off, I just wanted to get out of my corporate job back in like 2016. Absolutely hated someone else dictating my life. So let me turn my volume off on my computer. There we go. And so I started looking into real estate. I saw a buddy of mine that went to college with me. And what I thought was like, man, if he went to the same university as me and he can do it, then I can definitely do it. Because to me, I felt like there had to be some secret sauce, right? Like, oh, it's people are born with it, or people are born into a place where it works. So I reached out to him. He directed me to Bigger Pockets. That's where I learned how to wholesale. I found a guy on there wholesaling who's actually a pretty big real estate investor now. Called him up. I was like, hey, how do I get started? He basically told me, dude, don't freaking call me again until you've like actually done some homework. And he told me to listen to like the first like 80 episodes of the Real Deals podcast by Tucker Merrihew. So I called him back a week later. I did it. He didn't believe me. I was like, no, dude, I just need these 3 things. Help me get started. So he gave them to me. It wasn't a quick process. It was like 8 months later, 2 failed partnerships, bunch of failed contracts, got snaked by a couple of real estate agents. That sucked. But finally, I closed my first freaking deal, 10K. And from that point on, I was like, all right, I can't go back. So I burned the boats and burned the bridges and decided to go full-time into wholesaling. And that was like 2017 when stuff started to work. Wholesaling was very slow, 1 or 2 deals here or there. I didn't really pass like even my corporate income until like 2018. And then 2019, was it 2019 that we met, or
2019?
2019, Jeff and I moved to Boise, Idaho, bought a single family home, converted into a duplex. I was like, man, that's the real step to financial freedom. I was like, I got to house hack something. So I started interviewing like contractors and stuff like that. And everybody, I had like 2 people tell me Jeff and his brother were awesome. I think they also probably thought we would maybe be a good mesh on a project because we're both still young. We were 2 years younger then. So sure enough, Jeff came out. They were like, you know, Jeff wanted to try to give me a deal. He wanted to try to help me out. I didn't know it at the time. I just was penny, but I didn't have a lot of money to go do this renovation. Actually, I had so little money that we actually traded. I took him up and taught him how to snowboard for a day in exchange for, he pulled out a stainless steel stove out of one of the other flips he was doing and gave it to me.
That's awesome.
So that's how we bootstrapped my first and then from there, Jeff had reached out to me a couple months later. After that, he did my basement for me and turned it into another unit. He's like, hey, I got another project. I need like 20 grand for the rehab. You know, I'll give you a percentage of the flip if you're willing to fund it. And I was like, oh, I got to jump on this. I said yes, unbeknown to him that I did not have 20 grand in my name. So he's expecting 20 grand. I definitely don't have it. I had like 5, but I just started reaching out to friends and family. I was like, hey, if you give me 5 grand, I'll give you back 6 in 6 months. So $1,000 returns, a 2% flat return on their money, right? So I got 5 grand from 3 other people in my family. Turns out even more so, one of my other family members, my cousin, didn't have the 5 grand. He went and took it out from student loans too. So a bunch of people wanting to make stuff happen and just figuring it out. And then so that project, and all of a sudden we went to 3 flips. And that was pretty scary. And then now our company does about 35 flips a year. Our goal is 30. We're probably closer to 40 this year. So now we're fully scaled up, and we just started buying rentals at the beginning of this year. We now own 14 units in South Bend, Indiana. And we have how many? 18
units here.
Yep. 18 units here that we're working through the refi process on all of those right now. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Jeff, anything you'd add to your story?
Yeah, so I've been actually flipping for like 7 years, but I was just like lazy about it, like kind of like hippie and organic, and was like, oh, I'm just gonna flip 1 or 2 houses at a time. I don't want to be like a business guy. I just know this is the way like I can go and swing the hammer and make more than I would if I was swinging the hammer for somebody else. So I was like laying floors, painting walls, doing all the work, and then got tired of doing that, and I was like, man, I gotta build this into an actual business. So it actually just happened to be like weird timing when I met Noah, that I was looking to partner with somebody who was better at the acquisitions model than I was, because I just bought from wholesalers, flipped 1 or 2 at a time, did like 5 or 6 a year, but I didn't know any like off-market acquisition skills or anything like that. So when I met Noah and he had his wholesale background, I was like, okay, well, if you can take this piece, I can bring the operational side, and then we can really scale this thing up and blast it out. So been flipping for a long time, but really it's been like 2.5 years of us pushing hard and hitting like 35, 40 a year.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
about 35 flips a year now.
Yep.
And you guys partner on everything then at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit
Everything.
about how your partnership works, because that's always a big challenge for folks. I think many of us want to be in a partnership and it's hard to find somebody that's good. How does it work for you guys? Do you always decide on everything together, or everything's 50-50, or how do you guys make that work for you?
Yeah, so we started out like we always tell people like date before you get married. So especially in like a partnership. So we started out, we just did everything on like a joint venture. So I'd be like, hey, Noah, here's a project I have. Do you want to help me fund this and run some of the like dispo side? And then he would do the same if a project came up. And so we really kind of tested the waters that way. And then once we had like 10, 15 of those done, we were like, hey, we kind of know what we're looking for. We kind of created little buy boxes. So we became like an actual LLC together. And then we file as the S Corp as our actual corporate structure. But as far as like deciding what flips we do, we just have like very detailed like parameters, like return on investment requirements, how much money we have available at the time, and all that kind of stuff. So we just stick within the lanes that we created for ourselves, and then it kind of removes that decision-making process.
Nice. So then do you guys kind of understand each other's strengths? Have you done anything as a partnership team to try to understand, hey, here's one way to do this? Is one of you's better at one thing than the other?
Yeah, for sure.
We've done, we do the strength finder. What is it? Strength.
Yeah,
Gallup 24 strength.
34
34 strength finder, something. So, it did deliver some pretty interesting stuff and just kind of confirm some thoughts that we always have. But I definitely recommend, even before going into a partnership or hiring anybody, that you put them through some type of DISC profile or personality test or strength finder test or whatever. We do have some very different strengths and different weaknesses. And I feel like naturally, even before us diving into that and figuring that out, we kind of cover each other's backs where each one of us lags a little bit. I would say that Jeff is really good at catching like the details and stringing stuff together piece by piece by piece. And I don't look at each piece, but I see the whole puzzle. And so that's kind of where I think like, that's like the rocket fuel, right? Like Jeff can see all the little pieces and how they need to fit together. And I just see the big puzzle. So sometimes I wouldn't be able to figure out how to put something together, but I know what the end result is. And Jeff can help me put that together. And then other times, like, I'm like, no, I don't see how it's going to work because I'm missing one tiny little puzzle piece. And Jeff's like, no, we're just going to pull that in from over here. And then boom, now we have a completed, idea or something that's actually going to be successful as far as the project goes.
Yeah. I loved what you guys said earlier. Corey and I started that way as well. When we first started doing deals together, we did JVs. So I think anybody who's looking to partner with somebody and you're kind of feeling a little lonely and feeling like you want to get started on some flips and you're just new to the industry, I'd say definitely find someone that either in this community or somebody in a nearby network that you're like, hey, they're kind of cool. Do a JV or two. I love that. That's what Corey and I did. And then we fell in love and we got stuck together like you guys.
Yeah.
But I like what you also said about really understanding each other's strengths. Corey and I are super different, just like you two. I hung out with you guys for a week and I know you guys are like us. Like Corey and I are very different, but yet we're very, very connected on the basic values of what we do. So that's awesome. If anybody's got questions about partnerships, feel free to drop it in the chat. We can chat about that some more later. But wanted to jump in, kind of speeding along because I want to jump in about the Boise market. Everybody's talking about, hot markets across the country, and Boise continues to come up right on charts. And for the longest time, nobody gave any thought to Idaho because what's in Idaho but potatoes, right?
Yeah.
All
I knew was the Smurf turf.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So inspire us about Boise. So why did you guys move to Boise? And what about the real estate market would you say has caused you to want to invest there and have buy and holds? Just kind of educate us a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, we both kind of happened to come to Boise off of like happenstance. Like there was really no plan. Like, hey, I'm going to move to Boise and invest. Like, Noah had some life stuff that pulled him out here. We had some friends and family that pulled us out here. So we just kind of ended up here. And I just always knew like, hey, I'm a firm believer that you could invest in any market in the US, you can invest in any market in the world, depending on what the strategy is. And right when we got here, Boise just happened to take off and we were both smart enough to be looking at the data and realize, so that's why we decided to scale up so quickly. But for those that don't know, like Boise did Ada County did 42% appreciation from Q1 of 2019 to Q1 of 2020. Oh no, Q1 of 2020 to Q1 of 2021. Canyon County, which is our sub county here, did like 58% appreciation in 1 year. So yeah, it went absolutely crazy here. We are starting to see a little bit of a level off, but that's kind of to be expected when a market kind of goes crazy that fast. As far as investing long term, what excites me is we still have a ton of inbound moves. We have big industries coming and building infrastructure here and jobs that'll sustain a larger workforce.
Hold on a second. Did you say 58% appreciation?
Yeah, 58%, bro, from Q1 of 2020 to Q1 of 2021. Houses, literally, yeah.
That is crazy. And what caused that? I mean, outside of, a lot of markets because of, the interest rates and such, but 58% is on the crazy side. Like what was it?
I mean, I think COVID definitely had a huge impact on that, right? We are, and I don't want to get political, but I think this is why Idaho did so successful is we didn't have shutdowns that a ton of other people had. A lot of our businesses stayed open, jobs stayed open. You can still go downtown and have drinks and do stuff. And so the lifestyle was still really here. So,
so that's why you guys moved to Boise. It was the beer. It was you needed beer during COVID, so you guys relocated.
It was.
Okay.
But yeah, so you had all these people who the lockdowns were happening, and then really like at the same time now, like these tech jobs and these positions that you could work from home really went virtual. And so we saw a huge influx of people who were doing virtual work, people from Washington, California, Oregon, who were like, well, now that we went virtual anyways, why would I stay in my house that's 800,000 when I can have twice the size, twice as nice for 350,000, 400,000 in the Boise market? So that was a huge part of the demand that got people out here. And then, I mean, we just had like HP was HP, like the printer company was based in Boise, and they had outsourced some stuff. And then in the last 3 years, they decided to move back a bunch of their major facility or their operations here. We had Amazon came and built like 4 new warehouses, and just a ton of different like large companies come and create more sustainable jobs that then kind of backed up the growth that we were having and said, hey, this could actually be a long-term sustainable thing.
That's awesome. Anything you'd add, Noah?
Yeah, I mean, the company's moving here, I think a couple of different reasons. Like they're able to move here because the land was so dirt cheap 2 years ago. Like Amazon committed to a plan of building 1 million square footage of warehouse space here in the next 5 years. And so that's pretty insane, right? So then with Amazon, there's other companies that follow. There's smaller companies that get started up from that, a lot of dropship companies and things like that. So I also think too, like just lifestyle wise, Idaho is kind of like a hidden gem for so long. Like it's just a couple hour drive to some great hikes, to mountains. We have a ski resort 45 minutes away. We're in between a lot of these other states it makes it really easy to get to. Like I could head down and be snowboarding at Park City with a 4-hour drive, or with a 6.5 hour drive, I could be in Seattle. So I don't know, it's just a location,
You guys only 6.5 hours away? Wow.
Might be 7.
I think he's a little off on the Seattle math there.
I was like, so why haven't you come over to visit me yet? I mean,
Portland is 6, bro. So Seattle's definitely like 8.5 or 9.
No, it can't be 9.
Depends how fast you go.
Yeah, there you go. How fast you want to drive?
Right. So tell us a little bit about your business now. So Boise obviously is a great market, appreciated quickly. You got people coming in, you're a university town. I actually took my motorhome there last year and fell in love with Boise. And I was like, man, I could totally invest here. But it's an interesting market. A growing market's a tough market to really position into when you're new. So I know you guys have a wholesaling side, you have a construction arm, you also have a real estate arm. So you're also like Corey and I, very vertically integrated, which is really a very professional name for schizophrenic and ADD. So,
way to put it, bro. It's so true.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your real estate business model.
Yeah, so so on the construction side, me and my brother had been construction partners running a general contracting company before Noah and I partnered up to do flips. And I had been flipping we'd been flipping 1 or 2 of my houses at a time, and then running flips for other folks. So we had built out a pretty large crew, which then meant that when we were able to kick up our marketing and start acquiring more properties, rather than running 4 for other guys and 2 for me, we could run 6 for me at once, and then decide to push past that. So one, our construction costs are lower because we have in-house guys that we pay 15 to 20 bucks an hour, rather than hiring subs and having that markup on materials and labor and all that kind of stuff. So 80% of what we do is in-house labor, a little bit subbed out. So that helped to keep the costs low. And then Noah handles our sales and acquisitions team that does all our off-market marketing. So essentially we're a wholesaler who doesn't wholesale. We just get ourselves the deeply discounted properties to then keep them and flip them ourselves using our own construction company. So it's by like you said, like by being vertically integrated, it allows us to kind of position ourselves well in this market, because we're not really like, as hot as Boise is, if you're a distressed property owner, you might not be, you don't think in that term, right? Like some of them do, like, hey, this estimate shows 500, but some of them are like, dude, here's this piece of crap house that I inherited 6 months ago, or here's one of my rentals that's run down, or I'm a hoarder, I know I'm a hoarder. Like, they're not thinking that, oh, I'm in a hot market, I'm going to get top dollar for my house. They're thinking, I have a piece of crap house, I need to sell it to somebody who will buy a piece of crap house. So by having the marketing channels that we do, and Noah can go into those a little more deeply, we were able to kind of to set that up on a front end where we're getting deeply discounted properties, not competing with the open market and all the other investors that are out there.
That's awesome. Well, and you've just hit the phrase that everybody wants to know more about, is all of us on this call are like, how do we get deeply discounted properties and houses? So Noah, tell us how on your acquisition side, what are you guys doing to get those deeply discounted properties, so that way, basically, like you said, you don't sell them, you don't wholesale them, you hold them, and then you work on them.
Yeah. So I think the first thing that you have to start with is a mindset change. I stopped calling us a flip company, like in August of last year, and I was like, dude, we need to start referring to ourselves as a marketing company, because we're really a marketing company, right? And the byproduct of our marketing services are finding deeply discounted properties. It's the same thing, like if you look at McDonald's, if you ask McDonald's, like, what does McDonald's really do? They're actually a real estate company. Hamburgers pays the rent. So it's very interesting to switch the mindset. And once we did that, and I put all my effort, and the partnership is what allowed me to do that, because look at how a traditional flipper does it. They work really hard to go out and find a property through networking. They'll call lists, they'll mail lists, they'll do all these things. When they find the property, they become so busy that they have to shut off their marketing, because now they have to flip the home. Then when the home's sold, they say, oh shit, I got to go find another property. And they turn all their marketing back on. And that's why they ride this roller coaster, right? So our marketing is broken down into a couple different things. Cold calling is our shotgun approach. So we burn through about 10,000 contacts a month through cold calling. The cold calling gets funneled into the first position on our company, the first point of contact, which is our follow-up specialist. And his job is simply to hop on the phone, reconfirm the facts from the cold caller. Hey, are you ready to sell? Yes or no? If they say yes, he pushes them on through the script. And then if they're ready, if they qualify for an offer, they get passed on to me or to our acquisitions manager, which we just hired. And so cold calling is probably like it's our largest source of lead flow at the moment, but it's a lower quality lead. So we have to go through a lot more to close a deal.
Gotcha. So where are you sourcing your cold calling lists right now?
Yeah, so we actually use Call Magic Leads. Remember that in my beginning of my story, I told you that guy I called that's actually a big player now, and he's like, dude, don't call me again until you work. That's the guy that owns that company. His name's Elliot Smith. Yeah. So
I know Elliot.
So we use Elliot's cold call company. And then all the other employees are in-house. So once the lead comes in, now it's in-house. And then we do.
So your in-house person is the first person who validates that there's still a deal. They want to sell, etc. So tell us a little bit about that person. Is it paid by commissions that they've done good calls, or is it a salary? How does somebody get a guy like that on their team?
Yeah, so they have a small hourly basis, and that's because I want them to be able to shoot the gaps in between the commissions, especially as they're starting off. And then they get paid 3% of every single deal we close. And then the way that works is on flips, because we take it in-house. We'll pay them as a percentage of what the wholesale could have been up front, because it's quick cash. And then we'll pay them the remaining percentage of that commission check on the flip on the back end. So it's really.
So that's interesting. So let's say I'm just trying to reiterate that. So if you get a property, it's $100,000, let's say, and then when you flip it, it's 300, you're going to give them a percentage of the wholesale fee if you would have wholesaled the 100,000 out, which is say $5,000.
Yep.
And then you give them how many percent of that?
So they get 3% total. So the way it would work is, let's go off of profit numbers. Let's say that they locked up a flip for us, and we're like, we're going to make 50 grand on this flip. I'd pay them for the equivalent of a $10,000 wholesale up front. So they'd get a $300 check that week, right? For putting it under contract and us closing on it. And then when the flip closed and we said we were going to make 50, we've already paid them out for 10. So they get 3% on 40 grand at that point, because we've already paid them out on 10 up front to start commissions rolling and keep money coming into their accounts. So on the 40,000, Jeff did the math for me, they'd make an extra $1,500 once we actually close the flip.
That's the total on the 15, on a 50K flip.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Oh,
they would make 1,500 would be their total commission on a 50K flip. And then normally we're averaging, right now we've been increasing our profit. We're somewhere around like 75 to 80 grand a flip. So each time they close one, and we're closing like 3 or 4 a month, they have the potential to then make $18 or $1,800 to $2,000 per deal. If we do 30 and the other guy locks up 30, it ends up being quite a bit of money on top of their hourly rate.
Yeah, that's great. What's your hourly rate out there?
We for the follow-up specialist position, it's $12 an hour.
Nice. Okay. Oh, that's great. And that's great. I like it. Somebody else even commented it's great because you have 2-step compensation package there. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Because it's keeping sales guys motivated is hard.
Yeah.
I ran sales teams in my corporate job before I went into real estate. So I had a little bit of a head start on this, but like keeping them motivated and excited is very difficult. And one thing that I've learned is the size of the check isn't as important as the frequency of it, because they need to feel like they're winning all the time. And that's what even though that check up front is always only $300, right? But it's exciting for them to see something hit the bank account. It's a little hit of dopamine for them.
Yeah, I like it. That's fantastic. And then so you got them coming in, you're pre-qualifying them, you've got these call magic leads, so you're paying for that. So that's one source is that. And you said there's some other sources on market, other sources? Yeah.
So we also run a TV commercial, costs about $3,000 a month. It gets us in front of, I think about 100, it's basically 100,000 views a month is essentially what it comes down to. This marketing channel in particular is far better when stacked. So if you had no other marketing channels and you were just doing a TV commercial, I don't think it'd be very successful.
Yeah.
Where it becomes successful is when you have 10,000 phone calls being made a month. And then all of a sudden, your guys hop on the phone. They're like, oh yeah, it's Tree City. You've probably seen us on the TV. And they're like, oh yeah, I have seen you on TV. Also too, like the TV commercial really helps with referral leads, because then we stay top of mind for other agents and investors and other people. So yeah, the TV commercial is interesting. We've closed maybe 3 or 4 deals from it. And we started that in February?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then is that on all channels, or you just pick a certain sports channel, or what channel? If somebody's like, hey, I want to do a commercial, would you say is a good source?
So if you guys are looking into doing a TV commercial, I'd recommend doing the same program we did. We paid for Tony Javier's program. They actually run the whole freaking thing for you. So one thing you'll notice through all my marketing channels, we'll never claim to be the smartest guys, but we love to copy the smartest guys.
Yeah.
So
do it.
Yeah, Tony Javier's program is $7,000 to start, and it's $3,000 a month to run. But he'll call up your media channel, your local media buyers, and he'll negotiate with them and get you good rates. We're on probably like 25 different channels, and then we air for 3 weeks straight, and they cut it for a week, and then we go back to airing for 3 weeks, and they cut it for a week. So we air 3 weeks out of the month.
And the brilliance.
Do you have one of your sample commercials on your computer there?
Bro, I ain't showing you that, bro. We'll see if Noah can pull it up and then share the screen. The commercial is extremely corny, which is hilarious because it works. Like I legit will sit here and be embarrassed by it, but it works. But the cool thing about going with that program is I'm not really a penny pincher, but I also don't like to throw out $7,000 knowing like, hey, could I get this cheaper? So I actually called around to some of the TV stations and then some video editors in town and said, hey, if I film a high quality video, have you guys do the editing, what am I looking at? And so included in that $7,000, they actually filmed 3 different commercials for us, did all the editing, all the graphics. I was getting quoted like $7,000 to do one. So they do it all in-house, and then they negotiate, and they know the channels, because like we're on stuff that I would have never thought to be on. Like we're on Family Guy late at night. We're on Judge Judy. We're on all this stuff that are distressed. Oh, we're on Hulu now, but we're on all this stuff with all these distressed sellers that they're going to be at home during the day because they're not working. And that's why they're distressed. So it's stuff that I wouldn't have really thought about. Noah has it up on his computer if you want to allow him to share it.
If you want to see it. And then Jeff, will you throw in Javier's information in the
Oh
chat?
yeah, for sure. Let me pull that up and I'll drop it in the chat.
Dude, you guys are awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Oh,
That's
absolutely, man.
That's
Let me screen share real quick. You
You
guys
I was super excited for this.
don't judge us,
you
guys.
guys are
Don't
great.
judge us.
We love it. We won't judge you.
Can you guys see my screen right now?
Yeah, it's on mine.
Yep.
We see a pretty kitchen.
Hey, put away the nudies of Keikoa, okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Wait, we weren't supposed to say that out loud.
Sorry, bro, my bad.
Where did they go? I just had
You're
it
up
up.
time is doing quick time
Oh,
play.
there we go.
Oh, you guys look handsome.
Oh, you guys are in it. Oh, nice.
Oh, is the volume not working? How do I get the volume to work?
Oh, so it's only 25 seconds, huh?
Yeah, it's super short.
Oh, you know what you gotta do? You gotta do the it's a setting on Zoom.
Oh, she's
Oh,
got it.
advanced settings here. Tay's putting it in the chat and share computer music. Thank you, Tay.
you
Advanced settings.
We may have to find, that was actually our private money video, so he's gonna try and, hey, what am I choose? Gonna try and find actual TV commercial. That was the private money one that we did.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll look for the actual TV commercial. We had them film some extra videos for us when they came out, because we're like, hey, they're here, why not?
It was actually funny too, because it was like middle of COVID. So they came out to my living room and set up a green screen because you couldn't go into the studio to do it. So you had like this green screen, all these cameras and lights in the living room. Felt like so Noah's wife came and put some makeup on his face.
Sweet.
I had this, I don't even have acne, and I had this one zit on my nose. I was like, I'm not doing this for my TV commercial. I'll be known as the guy with the freaking zit on his face.
So I'm dropping in Drew's email if anyone wants to reach out to him. He runs the coordination for Tony and is like the marketing director that'll actually get in touch with the TV stations. And it's cool too, because their program only allows for a certain amount of people per capita in that market. So you may reach out and they'll be like, hey, we can't offer our services to you because they don't want to create this little pool where everyone's running the same commercial program and it's not being competitive. So, but then it means if you got it on in your market, they have like, I think in like San Diego, they have like 3 guys that can run commercials because the capita supports it. Whereas in Boise, there's only 2 people allowed for that market because it's a smaller market. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So while you're pulling that up, you guys are doing you're doing some TV ads, so you're doing some direct calling. Do you guys do direct mail, door knocking as well?
yeah, so we haven't started door knocking. Now that we built out the team in-house, kind of just to fill hours while we're jumping through kind of buying more data, we've been considering having them do some door knocking, but we do direct mail and then we do driving for dollars. Which driving for dollars, again, like no one mentioned, the TV commercial really helped because it stacks on top of the other stuff. Like we had a land deal where we made a killing and the people called and said, hey, I had your postcard sitting on my desk. And then I saw your commercial 3 times and I was like, okay, I got to call these guys. So maybe the commercial wouldn't have done it. Maybe the postcard wouldn't do it, but they say in marketing that you need 3 touches for that to be a qualified lead and to have the best success rate at closing that. So the commercial is like it's not a free one, but it's just something that's in the back of the mind. It's also worked for credibility, like as far as like raising money and just being known in the market. Because when you mention TV commercial, the only thing that people ever associate with TV commercials is Super Bowl. And they're like, oh man, TV commercials are so expensive. You guys must be killing it. We're like, yeah, our business is doing pretty well, but not enough to freaking pay $50,000 for a 30-second TV commercial. But the average American thinks TV is an extremely expensive form of marketing, which, I mean, it's $3K a month. It's not cheap, but it's nothing astronomical. So it's a good little trick to mix in there.
Hey,
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, like I'm have all kinds of ideas now going through my mind, but if anybody does reach out, please let them know that you're referred by Jeff and Noah at Tree City.
does someone want to, I can actually show you the commercial if someone wants to walk me through sharing my computer sound.
Tay, can you help us out? You seem to know how. Advanced settings, I think it.
That's a pretty
Sorry,
kitchen.
so you would go to share. So on your Zoom screen, you go at the bottom and share screen. And then there's that window that pops up. And then on the right side of there's share computer music, and it should work that way.
Okay, cool. Thank you. That was way faster than me fumbling around to figure it out. Let's see if this will work now.
Hi, I'm Noah,
And I'm Jeff, and we're Tree City home buyers.
and we need to buy distressed houses in the Treasure Valley now.
We're paying cash fast for properties in any condition.
Stop, don't make any repairs or even clean up.
We buy houses as is with no commissions or closing costs.
We're the local guys you'll talk to when you call.
And then we'll come to your house to make you a fair cash offer.
So if you want to sell a house in the Treasure Valley,
Give us a call for cash fast. Call 900 cash. That's 208 900 cash.
Dude, I love
Hi.
it. I love that.
Why would you be embarrassed, man?
That wasn't corny at all.
So I got these people that show up at my church and they're like, hey, Jeff, I was a little like 80-year-old lady the other day, actually. She's like, Jeff, were you high in that TV commercial? You looked. And I'm like, no, that's weird. But there's like this point right at the end of that commercial where no one's talking. I'm just staring at the camera like, no facial expression. I'm like, oh man, yeah. But
That's
Oh, I love it.
That's good. You probably get cute girls calling you guys too. Hey, you guys single?
no, it's actually, no, the old ladies love us though. The old lady's sitting there
All
home.
ladies do love us. Yeah.
Where I had
Good
to
old ladies, that's great.
the other day because the old lady that was talking to him on the phone, and she said, "Hey, I can make you a cup of tea if you come over." And she said, "I'll put a little something special in it for you." So silky, like R&B voice on the phone, so all the old ladies love him. It's hilarious,
Hey, how did you get that special number too? Because that's a pretty cool number.
bro. It legit was just available. Like I just got on and when we decided to do the TV commercial, we had just been using like Google Voice, and I was like, "Hey, we got to buy an actual number." And so I got on and just started searching, and it was available. I just typed in cash as the term on the back. I think I actually bought it from like a website called like Number Barn or something. And then
Yeah.
you can buy it and port it over to whatever call system you want to use. So now we've ported that over to smartphone, which is like, that's the phone service that we use to integrate with our Podio system.
That's great. Hey, actually, I'm glad that you kind of rolled into that. So the systems you guys are using. So Podio is
Yep.
your CRM.
Yep.
Podio is the CRM. Yep. Smartphone is the phone service. So smartphone, we can make outbound calls. And we do that because what you don't want to do is have your sales guys using their personal cell phones. Because what happens when they leave?
Yeah.
Then everybody, all your return calls are going back to them and they took their cell phone home. It's also nice too when people are sick or don't show up. I can literally go in and with 2 clicks, I can say, hey, this number that was routing to this guy who's now out sick is going to route to me for today. Sometimes I like to just have them route back to me for a particular day just to check up on the inbound calls and just make sure that, you know, we're still doing things the way we're supposed to be doing. The other awesome thing is the smartphone Podio integration automatically records all of your calls. So for
Nice.
training purposes, it's super awesome because now I don't have to sit there and listen to live calls. I can just pull, after this call, I've got a meeting with our newest guy. And I told him, hey, pick out 4 calls. And then we have this little process checklist and we're going to go through and we're going to make sure that he's hitting all of the important factors on a call off these 4 calls. But I could be out here doing this and I don't have to be in there listening to a live call.
Yep.
So that's kind of, yeah. So Podio, and then we use Deal Machine is another app we use. Deal Machine is really cool for direct mail. You can also, there's some integrations. We could be more technical on this aspect, but like, let's say from the cold calling, we're not getting a hold of this person. We'll just keep not picking up. We're never able to get a hold of them, but we already paid for the data point. My guy can literally go into his phone, type in the address of that person, and from Deal Machine with 1 click, send a mailer instead of having to go build out a whole list, right? Or mail like 2,500 people at once.
Yeah.
So Deal Machine is really helpful in that aspect as well.
That's great. What about your accounting systems and your construction systems?
Yeah, so on construction, we actually use like a super simplified app on the construction side. It's called the Meister Task App, and it really is just a checklist. I'm the operations guy in the company, and task lists and checklists is really like how we operate everything on that side of the business. So we have Meister Task App for the construction crew. So my brother's our project manager. He creates the scope of works within the app, gives it to the guys on the crew. They update pictures and kind of check things as they go. And then we can see it from our end. On like the admin operational side, we use a software called Monday.com, and it's super similar to Asana. I know people like Asana as well. And it's really just like a glorified checklist, but you can build templates and attach documents and kind of, so we use a template for all of our processes and then rotate that over for each individual project that we're doing. I think that's it. We're looking at use Rent Ready for our rentals. We're looking at switching that up to potentially building them, but and keep it posted on how that goes.
That's awesome. Sweet. We're already at 150, but a couple questions about your how you guys do deals now. So you're buying deals and you're holding them. You're not necessarily flipping them as much, right?
Yeah, so that's the goal. We're holding for short-term rental purposes because since Boise appreciated so fast, it's really the market is it's really competitive right now to try and refi and keep it as a traditional rent. Our prices have increased a ton, and rents they've increased as well, but definitely not in correlation with the prices. So to just like right now in our market, you'd have to buy like a $500,000 house. If you bought a $500,000 house, you're maybe getting like $1,800 to $1,900 a month in rent. So it doesn't really cash flow super well. But we are starting to hold on to probably about 3 out of every 5 that we do and furnish them and put them on the Airbnb market as short-term rentals.
Nice. And how's that working for short-term rentals?
They're just being furnished. So we got 6 right now that we're doing, and the first 2 are just being furnished. They'll be done one being today, and then the other one's getting furnished next week. So we don't have any like actual numbers on those, but the projections look great. And we're using a actual management company that focuses solely on short-term rentals because it wasn't our specialty. We're big into like the abundance mindset and the volume mindset, right? So like we don't try and tie up too much of our time, money, or energy into one particular thing, but we'll let them have their 20% and run our Airbnbs, and we'll make the 80 and not have to do anything. So
that's great. So when you're holding these deals right now, are you buying them under certain criteria and then trying to refinance them out at a certain point?
Yeah, so we pretty much anything that we flip in our market, the profit margin that we require, we haven't had one yet that's like, hey, you have to leave capital in the deal. If it appraises, if we're doing our numbers right on the front end, essentially we're just foregoing all of our profit and getting a rental with no money down. So first position, second position gets paid off, their percentages, all that kind of stuff. On a couple of them, they're looking pretty good. Like we'll make maybe 5 to 20 grand and then we'll still have the rental. But on most of them, it's looking like, hey, you're not going to make anything. You'll maybe make $500. Or there's one that like we'll have to leave 5 grand into it. But the Airbnb number should make us like 4 grand a month. So it's a wash after a month and a half. So yeah, our goal is to just do a cash out refi, traditional, like you always hear on Bigger Pockets and stuff, no money down, get your money out and keep going.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so are you using OPM right now? So you said to pay out the first and the second. So tell us, so a lot of people, everybody wants to try to use OPM. How does your OPM work? And that stands for other people's money, which means second lien for those of us.
So we get our first position from like a hard money guy or a mortgage lender, depending on what the deal is. And then
Kiko going forward.
Yeah, Kiko
Capital for sure.
Gotta go into Kiko. And then so our second position are all just private guys that we have either right now I would call it like maybe 3 stages removed. So everyone we have a personal relationship with, or they have a personal relationship with somebody that we have a personal relationship with. So we don't do any like marketing or anything for money or syndications or anything like that. It's just all word of mouth. And then like we've kind of through the TV commercial, we're really active on our social media, and we help post a meetup here in town and do some like boot camps for new investors. And we've really just kind of like we have core values up on our wall. Those are add value, be generous, solutions oriented, stuff like this. And it's made us really well known in our community for operating within those. And so because of that, private money is really just, it's been kind of crazy lately. It's just been pouring in. It's actually been way easier than it used to be. I would say like a month ago, we thought we were killing it. And we had like 2 or 2.5 million in private money. And like literally within the last month, we've probably raised another $1 million and $1.5 million, and it's all been organic people coming to us. So yeah, we set them up in second position with promissory note, then the second position deed of trust against the property. The interest rate varies dependent on what that particular person needs and what the deal allows. So that'd be my recommendation for anybody trying to borrow other people's money, is you'll hear like these gurus who are like, only pay 6, only pay 8, only pay 10. I'll pay whatever I can pay for them to make money and for them to make what they want to make, because then they're going to be happy and stick around with me long term. And as long as the deal dictates it, then I'm going to keep doing it. Like if I make a ton of money on the deal, it doesn't matter if I'm paying him 10% or 13%, the deal still pencils. So that's really helped us to increase the private money we've raised, because in our market, I probably do pay 2% annualized more than somebody else. But if you factor that out over a deal, it's like $800, $1,200. Like it really doesn't pencil to anything that should affect my deal. But in the mind of that lender, I'm a generous person who wants to help them out.
100%. Corey, you were going to say something?
Well, yeah, I think like it's refreshing to hear you guys say that, because what I've found, especially now being on the money side, is that a lot of the newer investors, they're so sensitive to the interest rate and the points or interest rate, and you can almost tell when someone's only done maybe a couple onesie twosies here and there, when they're really, they're trying to squeeze for the every 50 basis points or something like that on the price. And that makes sense now, because maybe they're being taught that to, like, you have to get, you have to, and to me, it's not that, like, for Kiko and I, when we were borrowing hard money heavily, our guy, we were paying like maybe 1% more than people who have less experience than us, and less credit. But it was hard to make the move because the relationship matters more. You want things done efficiently. Like, you guys have a machine going, you can't disrupt the machine, right? So when you make the move, and thank you for giving us a shot, by the way, like, you want to make sure that whoever you bring in is not going to disrupt the machine, right? And that's most important. It's better than trying to save $800 on the deal, or a few $1,000s here and there. And I'm more like I think the more deals you do, you start to realize what's really important, which is the leverage, right? Like you guys said, you had 2.4 or something million in private money and private investment, and then you got another million. So like that's everything to you guys, right? It's everything to us. It's like we need to squeeze every single amount of return from every dollar of that money to scale our business and be profitable. So it's refreshing to hear you guys say that. It wasn't just a comment, not a question, but you can tell like the experience level just based on that, so.
Appreciate that, man.
I think too, what really helps is thinking in terms of that investor and what are the things they're afraid of. And I would say, like, my close ratio when we did have to pitch for money was like 9 out of 10 appointments, which is insane. And I don't say that to be cocky, but I say that in terms of anyone can go out and do that. If all you did was just thought in terms of what is the risk for the investor and how can I bring it up in front? I've never had, like, the investors we pitched to have never had to ask what's the risk, because I tell them up front, I'm like, hey, honestly, this is the real risk. This is what it could look like. This is how it could go bad. But in relation, here's what you could do with your money in the stock market. Here's what you could do with your money in a 401k, or here's what you can do with your money with True City Homes.
Dude, it's very refreshing to hear that, because I've said it multiple times on our call, so people are probably sick of me saying this, but when you're raising private capital, right, the moment you feel like you're selling somebody on investing with you, you're doing it wrong, right? It's more about educating them, because when it comes down to it, the fundamentals of investing come down to two questions: what's my risk and what's my return? And you want to answer those questions for them before they even have to ask it, right? So that's exactly what, like, how our approach is. And I think that's really why we've been successful, at raising private capital. And another thing that's very refreshing to hear. And could you guys dive right into, like, because it always fascinates me when we meet people who are scaling an operation like yours, because we know, like, all the different headaches here and there, and all the people you have to manage. So, like, from the 30,000 foot view down, from like, so what is it? Is the process acquisition? And then when the lead comes in, you guys filter out into different buckets of, okay, this is a fix and flip deal, this is a wholesale deal, and maybe this is a retail sale here. What does that look like? The different stages all the way through. I know we talked about acquisition. We touched on the process a little bit, and then disposition. Like, what does that look like? Is it fairly simple, or?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. And honestly, like, we don't pretend to be the greatest or the best, so we're still figuring out a ton of these processes. So we're navigating through this, but the acquisition side is starting to be pretty scaled out and automatic. So lead comes in, follow-up specialist talks to them. If they work, it passes on to the acquisitions manager, which is Noah, or our other guy, Justin. If it's a qualified lead, and it looks like it's a deal, they'll make an offer. All of our offers are done over the phone. We don't walk any property unless we have it under contract. And then we just get kind of it's subject to partner walkthrough is what it says in the contract, which then allows us to make sure that what they told us on the phone is actually what it looks like in real life. So they lock it up that way. That's pretty automated. Once that gets locked up, it gets sent to the operations team, which is me and our executive assistant. And then we get it kind of set up for the transactional side, right? Like the TC coordination. We get our project manager plugged in, get a walkthrough set up with the seller. They go out, they walk the property, confirm scope of work, send it off to the lender. And that's a pretty automated process all the way up till funding. And then really at funding, it's like, I would say that's our most scaled out and automatic system right now. Is from the date that we fund to about a week from listing. Our project manager does a ridiculously good job at running our projects, keeping them on budget and on schedule. So we're not really involved in the flip aspect anymore. They run it all. He gets a percentage of profit. We get notified when it's ready for when it's a week out from staging, which then allows us to then meet with the dispo team, which is our in-house agent for on-market deals, and our TC coordinator, which is just our executive assistant. She handles ops and TC. And then so she comes in, gets it all plugged in for the listing, put on market, and then handles the TC work all the way until it's fully completed. So it's kind of a lot, but that's
awesome. Yeah, that fascinates me. And I guess if you had to put out one pain point in the process, what would that be?
I think it's the communication between different teams, like acquisitions team getting proper information to the ops team for the ops team to analyze it and then get that over to the contractor. And then same thing on the dispo side.
Yeah. The handoff is it's a very crucial point in the process, right?
I would love it. If somebody has a great handoff, shoot, let me know, man, because that's what we're fumbling through right now, is trying to figure out that handoff.
We're working on that too on the loan side, so people don't start stepping on each other, because as you start to scale, it'll happen no matter what. But yeah, that's something that's always hard to master.
Yeah.
Jeff, I was talking to a gal yesterday that just loves Monday, which you guys are already using.
Yeah.
And she says that that's their communication piece, because none of their staff are in the same state. So they have to do communication baton passes between states and virtually. And she says that they have very little miscommunication now because of Monday. So we're thinking of I told Tomas yesterday, it's like, hey, we got to switch over to Monday. So
yeah,
we learned it too.
Monday seems like it definitely has the capability to do it. The front end work, I mean, just building out processes, right? Like it takes a ton of time. So like that's been on mine, and Sam is our assistant. That's been on our list for like a month and a half now. And we're starting to get them in there, but definitely building them properly is the hard part. But once they're set up, yeah, it's a great software. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, I know we've kept you on for a bit. A couple of final questions for you is, what is your secret sauce? And then I'm going to ask you the next question is, what books or podcasts or resources are you guys using, reading, learning from the most right now? So tell us a little bit about your secret sauce. A bunch of people are now following you guys.
Yeah.
These are cool.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Yeah. No, you want to go secret sauce?
Yeah.
Podcast?
Yeah. So sorry, we've got some people behind us. Secret sauce. I would say the secret sauce really comes down to one thing, and it's what really helped Jeff and I scale in the beginning, but it's also what helps us continue to scale. It's honestly seeking to add value before I seek to do anything else. The book Go Giver comes to mind, not as the book I'll recommend, but as the book that helped us develop this. So Go Giver talks about to always seek to give more in value than you receive in payment. And I've really tried to live by that ever since I heard that. You can't go wrong, right? That formula has one result, and that's success. Could you get taken advantage of? Absolutely. But I would rather have that happen one or two times if someone taking advantage of me. But then the result on the other side of that coin is all the people that I've helped grow, scale, or build, whatever it is they're out to go do. So add more in value than you ever seek to receive in payment is my secret sauce. I know that sounds super basic, but I think it's as simple as that. Books and podcasts. Right now I'm reading the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and it's a really good book. It's been really helpful. That's like 6 months ago, I was sitting down with Jeff and I was like, hey, you realize we're no longer the guys that are just have to be good at like locking up houses and like flipping stuff and like running around and running and gunning with deals and making money, right? And we realized that we have to become leaders. And that's like what the team is now, right? The team doesn't need me to be the guy that's good on the phone and can close deals. The team needs me to be a good leader. Yep. So the leadership book is really helping. Podcasts.
Chasing Freedom with Noah and Jeff.
I was gonna say.
Oh, you guys have? Oh, yeah, for sure. What is the name of it?
It's called Chasing Freedom with Noah and Jeff.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
How often do you guys put episodes out?
Every
once a week.
Wednesday.
Yep.
Every Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah. And Keikoa missed his time slot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Keiko
bad guy.
on us, but we also forgot to remind him. So that was hard.
Bad.
Other than that, the Wholesaling Inc. podcast by Brett Daniels and Tom, what's his name? I forget his
No
last
clue,
name.
only know Brett.
But anyways, despite the fact that we're not really a full out built out wholesaling business, the principles within that have helped us to scale our marketing side of our business. So it's a really good podcast.
Yep. Books for me, Go Giver, and Checklist Manifesto is what I'm reading right now.
Yeah.
Really helped me to get more disciplined in creating those processes and systems. Podcasts, obviously ours, and then I love Bigger Pockets, man. I'm a big Bigger Pockets fan. That's how I met Keikoa, through their Maui Masterclass. And I think they put out really good stuff and resources. So
It's awesome. Love it.
I love it. And the Go Giver too. Like I believe in that 100%. Like
yeah. I hate books, and I legit read that book. And I mean, it's a short book, so it's not like
it's an easy read.
I read that book and I was like, all right, I started at like midnight, and I'm like, I guess I'm staying up all night and reading this. Dude, a really good book.
Oh, it's awesome. One of my favorite. Yeah, I live by that. Like Kiko and I live by that
I
one.
did like 80 pages, so I can actually read it. So
It's a little bit longer than the comic books you read, Jeff, but yeah, at least you know.
Bro, it is what it is. It's all right. You gotta know your strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly, right? You guys have been awesome. Thanks so much for jumping on and just being a blessing to the community and giving some good resources and helping us even expand our thinking a little bit. I think now everyone's like, hey, TV commercials, that's kind of a cool idea, because not a lot of people do that. So that's awesome. We hope you jump in from time to time and feel free to just join in. It's a great networking. We got people around the country. So with that, for everybody who jumped in this Friday, thanks so much for just being a part of this community. Again, on the Facebook page, there's places there every day if you want to jump in and drop a deal that you got, or if you need money or you need support or you need a contractor or an attorney, anything like that. We're here to give everything away and to help everybody be successful. So we'll hang out here for a bit, but for everybody else, awesome coffee talk. Thanks, Troy, Dennis, for being a part today, and for all of you. And
thank you guys. And how can people stay in touch with you guys? Like, you follow you guys on social media or anything? Or
yeah, I'm actually typing in our Instagrams right now.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
We're stupid little millennials, so that's the easiest way to get a hold of us.
I would say
we've raised like millions through Instagram, you know, like, so I don't knock social media anymore. TikTok, I ain't saying nothing about TikTok anymore. Like, who knows?
Yeah, for real. TikTok made a bunch of people dance for buddy.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, dude. That's awesome. So when are you guys coming over to watch a Seahawks game?
Dude, I was just in Indianapolis for opening day, man.
When are you coming back to Hawaii? You're gonna come to Oahu next time.
Yeah, I want to get back out to Hawaii. It was nice.
Yeah, I was gonna invite those guys to come with us when we do our mastermind on Oahu.
Yeah, you got to. When are you coming back?
Any excuse?
I'm not coming over there, man. There's too much COVID going on over there.
True.
Yeah, we don't have COVID in Idaho.
I know.
Oh, yeah, apparently.
When we came through with our motorhome last year, we're the only ones with masks as we're walking down the street. And we're like, did we just go to a whole nother planet? Because like not a single person here gives a rip. Like COVID never existed.
Yeah.
It's all in the mind, man. We just don't believe in it.
Yeah. Do you guys even know what vaccines are? Do they offer vaccines out there?
Idaho, bro.
We actually had a bunch of nurses go on strike because they were requiring it for people in the hospitals. And all the nurses were like, nope, not going to happen. I'm just not going to come to work.
Yeah, it's a very red state.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
the red state, huh? Yep.
So, Corey, you gotta go. Let's go. Let's find a time to head to Boise. It's a great state. It's nice.
I was messaging the link that Matt sent. Thanks, Matt, by the way. I sent it to Ashley. I was like, man, this looks like a nice place to go. Plus, there's no COVID over there. So
Red State blue football field. That's
yes,
good.
that's hilarious.
yeah, I know. That Smurf turf. Man, I used to hate Boise because they used to smoke all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, Noah's probably gonna stay on. I gotta jump with our Airbnb guy. It was nice chatting with you guys.
Yeah. Right on. Thank you guys.
You guys are awesome. Thanks, Noah.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, I was going to ask you, Corey. You said you said something that caught my mind. You said you'd raised millions on Instagram.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Can you walk me through what that looks like?
Yeah, honestly, it's just people that have come to us. But like I think now, like my Instagram, it's personal and business, you know, like honestly it's majority is business, but I think like people like to see like who they're really investing in, you know, like when people invest like hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes, you know, in the seven figures, like it's there's a lot of trust factor in there. And I think Instagram is like the perfect business card. It's like business card on steroids because you can show your credibility, who you are, even in your captions. Like, you know, like I don't post that much, but when I post, like I put some thought behind it usually, to bring value to people who are like, is this something that somebody's gonna wanna like look at and read, you know? And sometimes I just post whatever, you know, but most of the times like, there's intention behind it, you know, there's a message that I'd like to put out there. And I think it's gone a long ways. It takes longer, but a lot of I've had other investors want to partner on deals. They need capital. You know, what it does is it puts, I feel, just like your guys' TV commercial, it puts together a nice story of who you are and like puts you in it's like the impressions, like Coca-Cola, right? It just verifies perhaps what they've heard about you beforehand. Like somebody may have been referred to me, but that's basically for Instagram. I haven't really even had to market for capital, you know. I mean, technically you're not really supposed to. So like our fund, we're allowed to market because we're filed with the SEC, but and we jumped through all the hoops to do that. But apparently you're not supposed to advertise for private capital, right? You get in big trouble for that. I don't know anybody that's gotten in trouble for that, but from what I hear, it's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, one of the things I was going to say, we barely just started doing this like last week. I've been pushing for it for probably like the last 3 months. But like I thought about it and I was like, okay, I'm on Instagram and we're doing some stuff to make ourselves look trendy and cool. And I'm like, that's great and all. I don't care to look cool. What I care is to have traction, right? Like I want to do something. I want to go somewhere with this effort I'm putting in. We just started posting case studies. So it's simple. Like our VA actually goes into our drive and pulls out all the information from our files on our properties. And it's like, okay, how much did they spend? How much did they make? What was the timeline? What issues happened? And she just creates a PDF from it. And she's been posting that PDF to LinkedIn in bigger pockets. We just started that and mine's Zoom closed. And so just give me like 3 minutes. Yeah, we just started posting that to LinkedIn and bigger pockets. And like my content girl just texted me this morning. She's like, hey, you have like 12 messages on LinkedIn. You should probably check it, start replying.
Oh yeah.
So I think we'll see how the traction goes, but like who's on LinkedIn? Those people it's business owners, it's people looking to further their own careers and investments. And that's an opportunity to invest that now we're posting to LinkedIn. So
that's LinkedIn is the kind of the forgotten, you know, platform because LinkedIn was spam before, but now they've cleaned it up a lot. And there's a lot of money in LinkedIn. That's where all the lenders are. So I'd suggest people start, like you said, start a page. Like I'm gonna go follow you guys if I'm not following you already.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Noah Evans _real estate.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. And well, hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for letting us on, and thank you to the group for listening to us. And we appreciate you guys. And if anyone ever wants to talk, follow us on Instagram. Send me a message. We're on there. We'll respond to it. We'll set up time to talk. So.
Thanks so much, Jeff.
Okay. See you guys. Thank you.
See you guys. Thank you. All right.